Welcome back. Anurang Jain, founder of Endurance Technologies, adopted twin strategy to grow his business. For know-how and customer acquisition, Jain adopted the buy route. And to give Endurance a cutting edge in the marketplace, he developed his own proprietary products. The dual strategy has indeed put the company on a fast growth track. Veena Krishna caught up with 52-year-old Anurang Jain at his Aurangabad factory to find out how he expects to achieve his dream turnover of 12,000 crore rupees by 2020. And this is what he has to say. Take a look.
Mr. Jain, Sandeep, thank you for joining us. So they say twin brothers are inseparable. So my first question is that why did you and your twin brother Tarang Jain decide to set up two separate business ventures?
I would like to start by saying that you must appreciate that we were together for 17 years, growing our businesses. This was between 1985 to 2002. But there is a time which comes where I think we both realized that we had our own style of functioning, we had different focus areas to attend to. And I think we were both wise to ensure that we divide our businesses and grow them the way we wanted it to. Now, if you see the past history since 2002, we both have done well. So, I think there is a time when these type of calls to be taken are very, very important in a joint family.
Okay, so you took the aluminum die casting business that both you and your brother set up for Bajaj Auto in 1985. What were the kind of strategies that you put in place in the first 10 years?
I would say the first 10 years, we were very busy overcoming a lot of hurdles and trying to establish ourselves. So I would say between 1985 to 1994, we really faced some tough times. But I would say these years were also great learning years for us. And I think there were two strategic calls which we took. One was we learned that it's very important to be in the proprietary business. That's a business where you have your own know-how, where you can sell in the aftermarket, create a brand for yourself. And this is what we did, that from 1995 onwards, we got into the suspension, transmission and braking business. Because till then, the die casting business was non-proprietary, where the know-how was mainly from the OEM clients. So what we did was we tied up with the best companies in Europe, got in the technology, set up our own R&Ds, because it was very important to suit the products to Indian roads, Indian driving habits. Also, we had to make them more cost effective. And this really helped us to become a serious player in the auto component industry, because now we were competing with global companies in these three areas. And I have to say that this opportunity which I got was because Mr. Rajiv Bajaj, who had just come into the company at that time, saw this opportunity and he was very, very open to it. And I think it was a win-win for us both.
So in 2005, 2006, Endurance Technologies turnover was around 500 crore rupees plus. And then you went on for a spate of acquisitions. What triggered that and why did you do that? Were you thinking that this turnover, you were not growing very fast?
See, 2005-06, we were amongst the largest aluminum die casting companies in India. We were very strong. We had know-how in both the product and the process. And we saw a lot of global OEMs setting up their plants in India. It was very important for us to, in fact, get business from these clients, both for overseas as well as for India. And that's the time we looked at Europe, companies in Europe. Why not USA? Because I believe the large OEMs were not doing that well, while European companies, the German ones especially, were quite stable, quite strong. And we also wanted the know-how, from these acquisition companies. So that's the reason we said that to acquire new clients, to get know-how from these companies and grow our business both in India and Europe, we felt a smart move, and that's the reason why we went ahead.
Okay, but then it came at a cost because you soon, faced a global downturn in 2007, 2008, and then Endurance plunged into losses. So what were the learnings then? Do you think that you did something wrong?
Of course, on hindsight, everything seems wrong. But yes, we had a good run, and of course, we didn't expect the downturn of 2008, which happened to us. But on hindsight, I would definitely like to say that our focus was more on sales growth and top-line growth. But I think it's very important to look at your cash flows, your total debt-to-equity type of ratios. You have to look at ROI, your investment, what you are doing, when will you get back your returns. This is something I think we completely ignored. And if you see the learnings from that is that since 2009, we have realized that it's very important to take risks which you can afford, because you have obligation to all your stakeholders also. And at the same time, have this focus on ratios, on cash flows. It is very, very important. So I think going forward, this is the path we will choose, and we have chosen since 2009. The second learning was that what we could have done is we went too fast on those 3 acquisitions. We could have taken one, because you never know a company. When you acquire a company, you never know what's inside in terms of people and, operations. We could have waited, learned from that, and then gone on a step-by-step basis. So I would say these were the 2 learnings which I feel, and this is something we have been following for our acquisition since 2009.
So Sandeep, today how do you look at Endurance Technologies' financial ratios, and do you really think they've learned from their mistakes?
I'm glad we've moved on to the financial ratios because as a banker, that's something we look at closely. There was a lot of growth anticipated by companies in 2007-2008 which didn't materialize, so the debt which people took on really stuck on for a very long time, and the ratios were all over the place. So from that perspective, what we've seen, Endurance subsequently has really got hold of the financials. So while the downturn was experienced in India, the margins have been pretty much rock solid, because I guess they haven't changed top line growth and have really ensured that the margins are kept in place. Secondly, been a lot more conservative on debt, so we can't really see much fresh debt which has come on. Rather, the cash accumulation has been good, which has been used to pay off existing debt. So from a perspective of, if we see the company at this stage of the economic cycle where we expect growth to take place, is very strongly positioned, because margins are there. Hopefully they get better with top line growth, and given that they got quite conservative financial ratios, it gives them some, you could say, dry powder for any acquisition that may come across.
You were focusing on two-wheeler segment in India, but then you're concentrating the four-wheeler segment in overseas. Would you not look at the four-wheeler market in India?
No. See, if you see every product segment one is in requires a lot of experience, knowledge, the know-hows and the know-whys in product and process. Our experience in the last 20 years has been in the segments we are in, mainly in the 2 and 3 wheeler, except for castings, which we do for the 4 wheelers also, including exports. And I think there's a huge market there. Right now we feel this market is growing. In fact, this year the 2-wheeler market has so far grown more than 16%. Plus we have the whole global market. Look at the Southeast Asian market, which is as big as India's. So with a market so big and so much of opportunity there, why we should look at other sectors which require so much more expertise, And our strengths are here. So it's good to leverage your strengths and to go forward. So today if you see in India, like last year we did 3,145 crores in India, 1,100 crores overseas. In that 3,145, 90% is our 2 and 3 wheeler business. And we would like to continue to grow in this field, in future also.
What is it in the gene of a Marwari that makes him a good businessman?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, if you take my view, I think he's a very financial savvy person. He understands cash flows, which means that he knows that the money coming in should be more than the money going out.
What is that one key strategy that saw you making it big in the world of business?
I think the strategy was entering the proprietary business in 1995, because that gave us an identity. It improved our image as a company, because we had collaborations from Europe. We had competition which was global. We had an increased business in the aftermarket. We had a brand identity there in the aftermarket. When we go to a customer, and nowadays they are rationalizing the vendor base, all the customers. If they have 200, they would like to have 150, they would like to have 100. So here is a company, Endurance, which can give you 4 product segments as one supplier. So that's also, and we are seeing this happen, that people want to come to all our 4 segments when they give us orders. So that's become a very big advantage.
Okay, Mr. Jain, by 2020, you plan to become a 12,000 crore rupees company. How do you plan to achieve that?
We were at 4,245 crores, both India and overseas. We have made a plan of 12,000 crores by 2019-20. One part is India. Second part is Southeast Asia, either by acquisitions or a greenfield project or exports to Southeast Asia. This is a market we want to tap, because this is as big as the Indian market. This is second, and third is our aftermarket business, because we have a full potential, a global potential to increase, our sales base everywhere, So threefold strategy for India. As far as overseas is concerned, we have moved up the value add chain. We are going into more complex, large aluminum die casting parts. In fact, we have recently we have finalized to get into structural parts, which are aluminum die casting, for example, doors for the high-end cars. So where the entry barriers are more, because that requires know-how, it requires large investments. So our strategy is complex, large parts, having good know-how, important know-how overseas, mainly four-wheeler, and mainly two- and three-wheeler in India. But four-wheeler, if an opportunity comes in the casting space, we are totally open. If we believe we can make money, we will surely do it.
Mr. Jain, thank you for joining us. Sandeep, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Veena. Thank you for having me.
Well, that was Anurang Jain convincingly explaining his twin strategy. These are the mantras he implemented to build Endurance Technologies. Use buy route to acquire a latest technology and customers. Make proprietary products. This will give you an edge over your competitors. Keep an eye on financial ratios. Don't focus only on turnover. And finally, outsource all non-critical operations. This will help you to control costs and investments. Practical mantras, I would say. Well, the mantra of developing proprietary products has indeed helped Endurance Technologies. Before I go, I am reminded of this well-known saying in the corporate world. Nobody got fired for buying IBM products. On that thinking note, it is time to say goodbye. See you next week with another interesting episode. Till then, keep watching CNBC TV 18.
Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.